Hey everybody, happy Friday and welcome to the Fanatic Forum. I'm your Fanatic and host, George Bueller. Tonight we're going to be talking about new books I got this week that I want to recommend to you guys, of course, plus my haul from Free Comic Book Day. And we're going to take a little bit deeper dive into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Spoiler alert, we're going to spoil the heck out of this thing. So we'll do that right after this. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Fanatic Forum. I'm your Fanatic and host, George Bueller. I hope everybody's had a great week out there. It's been a good week over here, of course. Last weekend was Free Comic Book Day, the national holiday that is most important to all of us comic book geeks. So, of course, I went into my local comic book shop and celebrated greatly, getting lots of good books out there and got a few extra ones as well. So, of course, this week we had tons of good books. I've got lots to share with you on that. So yeah, all kinds of good stuff to talk about. Plus, we're going to take a much deeper dive into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, as opposed to the kind of the spoiler-free version that we did last week. So yeah, I've already seen this movie twice, talked about it quite a bit, so got some thoughts to share with you guys. Plus, there's some general excitement about the movie and everything else. So, of course, I want to know what you guys think. Share with your comments and suggestions and all that good stuff. Of course, you guys watch me either on Facebook or on YouTube, but got to put out the promotion stuff here a little bit. So you can, of course, like and subscribe me on Facebook at Fanatic Forum, or you can just find me at George the Fanatic. Also, my YouTube page is now live. We'll have officially 2 videos on this thing after tonight. Anywho, so you can like and subscribe for the Fanatic Forum on YouTube as well. So, and perhaps there's more to come, I'm sure. I want to have more to come as well. So, some tape stuff as well as what I do live every week. So, yeah, either way. So, okay. I got some good fun stuff to share with you guys here. So let's start with my Free Comic Book Day haul, since, of course, that's what we were talking about here. Of course, if you're not familiar with Free Comic Book Day, that is basically when essentially publishers from around the country will put out stuff specifically for comic book shops that are 100% free. For the independent publishers, a lot of times it's a reprint of a first issue to kind of get you interested in a title and get you collecting more. For the bigger publishers, for like Marvel and DC, it's usually like a sneak preview of what's to come. Sometimes there's big events coming in the summer, and Marvel and DC both have big events coming, as well as maybe some other companies that may have stuff coming up in the fall as well. So yeah, lots of cool stuff here. So first off, from Marvel here, one of the definitely big books here was the Judgment Day Free Comic Book Day book. This is basically the upcoming crossover that will feature the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Eternals. And thanks to the movie coming out, and this really kind of incorporates the Eternals into the Marvel universe proper. Just like in the movies, they've always been on the outskirts of everything that has gone on in the Marvel's universe. They've never been involved in the big events, anything like that. On occasion, there's little bitty crossovers, but for the most part, they're on an island by themselves. So this is really the first time they are getting involved into a major event. The plot of this is basically the Eternals. Of course, their whole mission is to erase deviance from Earth's face and, save us from all their evil doings and all that sort of stuff. Really, what the Eternals have finally decided is that mutants are deviants and they need to be removed. They are dangerous now. The Avengers are basically stepping in, trying to get them to change their minds. So basically, the Avengers are trying to play a referee in all this. So really, this is almost kind of coming down to a fight between the Eternals and the X-Men. Of course, the X-Men's, are not so much the hated and feared minority in the Marvel universe as they've always traditionally been. The mutants basically united a couple of years ago on the mutants island of Krakoa. And so basically all mutants are welcome there. They've kind of given the general public and the rest of the world kind of these gifts to help their technology or to help medicine or whatever else in exchange for basically them joining the UN and kind of their own autonomy. So, yeah. So the X-Men are now kind of in this whole new league of their own, even to the point where they have made Mars safe for humans and have colonized it. So the mutants have their own planet now. That's the kind of level they're on at this point now. So maybe the Eternals have a point. Maybe they've gone too far. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, so big event coming in the summer there. So anything that involves the Avengers, I'm there for. Another big event for coming up in the Marvel Universe here. Spider-Man here. Of course, this it's kind of incorporates a lot of the Spider universe here because you get a little bit of a sneak peek of some stuff coming up in the Spider-Man titles proper. Also what's coming up for Venom. And then also you get a little bit of a sneak peek of a book that's out right now, the Spider-Man 2099. So you get all kinds of your Spider stuff going there. So that's all good there. Another big book for DC here is their Dark Crisis preview. Now, of course, this is definitely a preview of what's to come. This is basically what has happened in the pages of Justice League is that the Justice League have all been killed. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, which is the John Stewart Green Lantern, and several other members are all dead. And there's these basically kind of a uniting of all of these villains that are these major powerhouse villains. It's not your like Darkseid is the most recognizable face for some people who are kind of new to the DC universe. He's the lowest level guy on the group, if that's to say something. There are actually some legitimate gods in this group as well. So lots of big stuff going on in the DC universe. So a big sneak preview of what's to come for them this summer. And I like the whole fact that basically you've got this is kind of like the next generation of DC heroes to shine. Because right now you've got Jace Fox, who is the son of Lucius Fox over in the Batman universe, who is basically acting as a Batman in New York City. So you have like essentially a African-American Batman who's operating in another city, kind of trying to do his own thing. He'll obviously get involved, seeing as we're going to need some Batman. John Kent, who is the son of Superman and Lois Lane, he's basically running around being Superman right now. So you've got him. You've got a couple other Wonder Woman kind of replacements or kind of some next levels for them. Not Barry Allen, Wally West, who's been basically the kid sidekick for Flash for a number of years. Then he took over for the Flash for about 20 some odd years for a while. And then they've both been kind of sharing the mantle. Well, now this is his time to shine. And kind of being almost the elder statesman, so to speak. So there's a lot of like some new generation mixing with the old generation, all to basically save the universe. So yeah, lots of cool stuff going on there with DC. At least I like the premise for this. So we'll see how it all goes down though. Over in Valiant, of course, they have a preview of a lot of their titles coming up in the fall. And of course, if you're familiar with Valiant, they came up in the 90s, but they always have like, nice runs for their books as well. And they'll go away, they come back, they'll go away, they come back. So that's kind of the history of the company. And so, but again, they've had some really good characters here. This is Bloodshot. You might recognize him from the Vin Diesel film that came out a couple of years ago. Of course, they've got Exo Manowar in here. There's Archer and Armstrong. Lots of other great characters in the Ninjax as well. So lots of other great characters in the Valiant universe. This is a preview of books to come in the fall for them. Another preview to come for IDW Books is their new Ninja Turtles book coming out here. And this is a really cool premise because basically, if you notice, the art kind of looks very similar to a lot of the 80s original, like Kevin Eastman Lariat art there. This is basically kind of almost kind of a bit of a Flashpoint sort of effect here. Because actually you see on the back here, the more recent Turtles, Jenica, is actually involved in this storyline. She's basically gone back in time somehow and has noticed that the origin for the Ninja Turtles has drastically changed. Their appearance has changed. Even like, you notice everybody's got their familiar weapons. those aren't the actual regular people. Like Leonardo, you assume is, right here, back here holding the sword. That's not Leonardo. Yeah, yes, they are your four turtles, but they're all very different. So this upcoming turtle storyline is asking, why are they different? So it's very interesting stuff. I'm not normally a Ninja Turtles fan, but I was intrigued by that. The 80s art's what's got me. So I love that, the original art for the original books that would come out, the old black and white Ninja Turtles before they exploded into pop culture. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. Over from Image here, this was a really good book for horror fans. Highly, highly, highly recommend this one here. The Bone Orchard Mythos is a new shared horror universe coming up from the creative team of Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. This is a superstar team here, folks, especially when you want like artsy kind of stuff, whatever you have to be doing, whether it's superheroes. I talked about their book Primordial, which is kind of an alternate history take on the space race, also getting into some weird metaphysical stuff kind of later on. This is definitely a horror universe here. It's really kind of twisted, disturbing stuff, but I would classify this as classy horror. This isn't your typical kind of blood and guts sort of stuff here, but this is for mature readers, so not for the kids at all. But this is essentially, as it says, a prelude for what's to come. I think later this summer there is a graphic novel coming out called The Passageway. I've already read this in its entirety. It is amazing. I cannot recommend this highly enough. Very weird horror kind of stuff. Not a lot of dialogue. Very visually driven stories here. So really, really, really cool stuff. Go get this right now. Or when the book comes out later this summer, The Passageway, get that. But there's basically going to be like a lot of like graphic novels, one shots, mini series. That's all in the Bone Orchard stuff. So let's see here. Actually, they had a little preview. Yes, here we go. So we've got the Passageway coming in June. 10,000 Black Feathers, which is a mini series, is coming in September. And then Tenement is coming next year. And I think that is a one shot or another graphic novel. They weren't specific about it. But yeah, so lots of great stuff coming from Image there. So yeah, if you like your horror books, recommend that stuff. If you want to get into some really interesting science fiction here, this is really cool here, especially for you film and art fans here, the Incal universe. The Incal is considered one of the greatest graphic novels of all time. It was written by filmmaker Alejandro Jodorowsky, and the artist was the great French artist Mobius. This was done in the early 80s. The art and a lot of the style of the structures of things, the story itself, the vehicles, whatever else, had widespread influences across the science fiction universe since its release in 1981. The Incal universe is going to be a series of other one-shots and mini-series and whatever else that further expand the universe of the Incal as well as kind of give like further sequel stories as well. This all kind of under the watch of Alejandro Jodorowsky, of course, is still with us, thankfully. Of course, Mobius is not, but there's a lot of other art in here that Mobius inspired. But yeah, this is definitely not your typical comic book kind of stuff here. This is some very artsy, very old school kind of science fiction art here, like your late 70s, early 80s kind of stuff here. Books aren't done this way anymore, so this is something really cool there. This is one that has always been recommended to me and never got around to reading it, but this is kind of an interesting one-shot here to get you into the Nottingham universe. This is put out by Mad Cave Publishers. This is a very cool twist on the Robin Hood storyline. Basically, if the sheriff of Nottingham was the good guy in the story, and Robin Hood and his merry men are basically terrorists or kind of a gang of misfits sort of thing like that, but their reach is far more greater and far dangerous than one might expect. But yeah, a very interesting twist here. So this is kind of a self-contained story within the Nottingham universe. But of course, the series has been out for a little bit now, so you can pick up some trades and get yourself caught up to the regular issues. But yeah, definitely worth checking out there if you like. And of course, it's staying in the period of Robin Hood as well, so it's still period appropriate. But yeah, a little bit of an alignment shift here of our heroes. So yeah, definitely worth a look there. Last but not least, from AWA Upshots here, they reissued the first issue of Primos, which is a new Latino-based superhero team here. And the first issue doesn't really reveal a lot. Kind of get you kind of a little bit set up, kind of a hardcore thrust into the world of Primos, but not really. You're not entirely sure what's going on or what the real villain is or what the mission is. But you're almost kind of the same way that the main character right here is kind of thrust into this world as well here on kind of just no primers whatsoever. So it's very interesting as well. But the neat thing about this reprint of that is that it's a double issue because they reprint the issue in Espanol as well. So yeah, very cool there. So if you want to brush up on your Spanish there, you kind of do that. But the neat thing about Primos is that it is written by Al Madrigal, who was one of the contributors and comedians, part of The Daily Show, right towards, I think he was right towards the end of Jon Stewart's run there. Not sure if he still does it with Trevor Noah or not, but yeah, he was definitely with Jon Stewart's crew here. So yeah, I got a kick out of that he was writing superhero books now. So yeah, very interesting stuff here. So all right, this week had lots of new books here to share. Lots of cool things here. Of course, a very large stack of stuff here. From DC here, finally, it took forever for this book to come out here, but the third issue of Suicide Squad Get Joker. This is coming from the Black Label brand of DC Comics, so not for kiddos. This is for mature readers here. This has been delayed for, several months. The first two issues, I think, came out last year, and third issue was basically delayed due to paper shortages. But it was kind of interesting because several other Black Label books have come out in this format since Get Joker, but for some reason there was a paper shortage for this third issue here. So it was good. I liked it. I'm not entirely sure if it was worth the wait, but it was kind of fun that basically you've got Amanda Waller throwing together a Suicide Squad team led by Jason Todd to literally go kill the Joker. Unfortunately, though, kind of Joker, being who he is, kind of throws several wrenches into the works almost immediately. And so a second Suicide Squad team is called into play to take out the first Suicide Squad team. So, yeah, a very sticky situation, so to speak, there. So you get double Suicide Squads in this one here, but lots of fun, lots of carnage, lots of body count, of course, here. But, like I said, it was good. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't entirely sure if it was worth the wait, though. Killing the Joker doesn't sound like suicide. yeah, Dave Mattingly, yes, sir. Yeah, it does seem a bit like suicide, especially when Harley Quinn's on the team and she's telling you this is a suicide mission. We shouldn't do this. This is a bad idea. She'd know. So, yeah, good point there, Dave. All right, here. Another book I've talked about from time to time, and just got to promote this. Of course, I'm a Batman fan, but not everybody wants to get into kind of the heavy mythology of Batman. So an alternative here is I Am Batman. Now, this is the exploits of Jace Fox. Like I said, I talked about him earlier, the son of Lucius Fox. This is his exploits now in New York City, where he is tracking down a serial killer calling himself the Artist. And the neat thing is that he's actually worked the Batman, not the killer, not the killer. Batman is actually working with the New York City Police Department in all of this, but there's, of course, a lot of twists and turns because the whole premise for this killer, he wants to take out corrupt people within the New York City government and the police department and whatever else, and it just seems like that list keeps getting longer and longer. So, but it's an interesting point because, since Jace is still fairly new to the Batman story, the role, he's making a lot of mistakes. He's having a lot of learning moments, a lot of teachable moments here, and I kind of like that. So it's a nice kind of fresh alternative to your traditional Batman stuff here. So next up on the list here, Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes. This is the third issue of 6. Finally getting an interesting point in this miniseries. I first started reading the first couple issues, but wasn't entirely impressed. But now it's starting to pick up some steam here. And you're getting, of course, there's basically a villain who we don't know who it is yet, who is basically playing around with the time stream in this particular miniseries, whereas you basically are getting heroes from the 21st century, being the Justice League, intermingling with heroes from the 31st century, being the Legion of Superheroes. But then, of course, now you get all of our heroes in this issue are scattered throughout time. So some people are in the right era, some people are in other areas, that are their correct Earth, but maybe not the right time period, all sorts of stuff like that. But lots of fun cameos in this. So, of course, you're jumping around through different time periods of the DC Universe. You're going to run into some familiar faces here, and this issue does not disappoint. The Versus, though, is a bit of a misnomer because they're working together right now. So 3 issues in, they haven't fought yet. So if they're going to fight, hasn't happened yet. There's not even a build to it. So we're trying to figure out who the villain is in all this. So that remains to be seen. So, yeah. Anyway, but, a fun, interesting, little trip down memory lane for lots of DC fans here. Dave's asking, DC as a New York City, is that Metropolis? That was kind of always a misconception, in that is Metropolis kind of, New York City or whatever else. I've always thought that Metropolis was like Los Angeles, because it's the shiny, it's the sunny city, everything's nice and happy and clean there because Superman's running the show, and saving everything like that. Whereas, Gotham is more like New York or Chicago or whatnot, where, it's darker, it's gothic, no pun intended, it's an older city, in those regards. So that's kind of always how I took it there. But apparently there is a New York and a Gotham and a Metropolis. So I don't know, Dave. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I don't. All right, last but not least here, this is definitely the best book DC put out this week, so I saved the best for last here. The first issue of Jurassic League here, and this is from the very, very creative mind of Daniel Warren Johnson. He did the Wonder Woman Dead Earth miniseries. He also did the Betty Ray Bill Stormbreaker miniseries for Marvel. I love his art style. It's kind of a little bit of Kirby-esque there, but a little bit harder edge, a little more primitive there. So just love that. But this is literally the Justice League reimagined as prehistoric creatures. You have dinosaurs, lizards, all kinds of stuff here. So it's taking the characters' essential qualities, but literally giving them a fresh coat of paint. So highest recommendation for DC stuff this week. That was so fun here. Rico's got my back on this one here. Says it was such a fun read. Yes. I am definitely all in for all 6 issues on that. So yeah, I agree with you, Rico. That was a lot of fun there. Hey, Marianne, good to see you on there. Welcome to the show. Lovely having you. All right, here. Going to our independents here. Got lots of indie books this week. This one actually, let's see, this is from Opus Incendium Press. A new Death Dealer series is out here from the old Frank Frazetta. Well, she's now run by the Frazetta Girls company, but they're basically, this company is trying to do a whole new Frazetta universe, taking a lot of his characters that he created through his art and making series and whole universes out of them. So we are starting with his biggest creation, Death Dealer. And this is some really cool, very hard edge fantasy art here. And this is for mature readers as well. So no kiddos allowed. But yeah, this is some really cool stuff here. I know there's been several different Death Dealer series. The one I remember the most was done in the 90s at Glenn Danzig from the Misfits and Samhain and his own solo stuff that he wrote. I remember that being pretty good here. But yeah, this is a fun start to here. So yeah, I want to see where the rest of this universe is going. So hopefully we will see here. Let's see here. Saturday Morning Comics asking, have I had a chance to add the Saturday Morning G.I. Joe Adventure Series? Well, funny you should ask, because yes, I have. You know what? I tell you, Saturday Morning Comics, that was excellent timing there. Definitely got to say. Yeah, I haven't talked about this series just yet, but I'm very much a G.I. Joe fan. But yeah, really, the first two issues are kind of a little hokey, but at least the fun of it is that, yes, this is 100% looking like the art from the cartoon. So there's Quick Kick down there, Spirit, Baroness, all that. Yeah. So, yeah, this is 100% that art here. There's Duke, there's Cobra Commander. Yeah. So, yeah, totally that art here. But the story really kind of picks up in this issue here. Nice, fun conclusion at the end. So the last issue is going to be as slobber knocker, as old JR would say. So yeah, I've been, like I said, the first couple of issues, like I was enjoying it, but wasn't really into it. But yeah, this third issue, I'm right there with you, Saturday Morning Comics. It was a lot of fun. Actually, let's see here. So the second issue is even better than the first, in our opinion. We're doing a review series of it on our channel. Oh, there you go, folks. So you want a little bit deeper dive? Check out Saturday Morning Comics there. There you go. I'm going to have to check you guys out. Ooh, Dave, you got a play to do here. All right. Are you in the play, or are you just going to see the play? Oh, you're actually going to see. Okay, all right, there you go. Nice. Well, enjoy, Dave, and happy you're joining us there. All right, so more independents here. Let's see. What do we got? Okay, here we go. A couple things from Image here. Issue 13 of Crossover. I've definitely talked about this series before. This was a fantastic issue. Not the end, but it definitely kind of seems like maybe things are wrapping up a bit here. Because we've almost kind of like been chasing our lead villain, the main problem of our storyline for the entire 13 issues here, thinking, okay, well, this is who our guy is, and then revealing that's not who the big bad is. And then, okay, maybe we found who this person is. No, that's not it either. So the end of this issue, I think we finally know who our bad guy is. But this has been such a madcap series where it starts off essentially like a invasion of reality by fiction, essentially the entire comic book world. But nonetheless, the story isn't just that. It's a lot more reality controlling fiction, controlling reality again. It's a lot of ins and outs. But nonetheless, somehow tying this back into a very personal story from writer Donny Cates, who just has been absolutely killing it with this series and over at Marvel and whatever else. Yeah. Fantastic book here. Cannot recommend this series enough. I know the first trade's out because a couple of those early issues are hard to get a hold of here. But yeah, definitely want to check that one out there. Last but not least, coming from Image Comics here, 8 Billion Genies. The first issue of this from writer Charles Soule. This was a really funny and very, very clever story. Essentially, the entire world is given their own personal genie. So that means 8 billion people on planet Earth, we all get a genie, no matter who you are or where you come from. You get a genie, you get a genie, you get a genie, you get a genie. Well, that could be a great thing for some people. It could be a terrible thing for other people. So there could be a lot of chaos, a lot of rampant destruction, and also a lot of good all simultaneously. And this first issue does not disappoint, and I'm very intrigued about the rest of the series here. So this is a 8-issue series. So yeah, definitely worth a look here. And the art's really good as well here. Yeah, let's get to a good page here. Yeah, so yeah, some excellent art here by Ryan Brown. So yeah, definitely want to check that one out there. So it's not a superhero book, so if you want something that's a little different there, so yeah, definitely want to give that a look. Over from IDW here, definitely want to talk about this one here. The first issue of Last Bot Standing. This is going to be the last Transformers series for IDW Publishing. I believe it was Dark Horse Comics got the rights for both G.I. Joe and for Transformers. So while G.I. Joe has the Saturday morning miniseries that's wrapping up, and their proper G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero series that's done by legendary G.I. Joe scribe Larry Hama, will be wrapping up at issue 300. This is actually going to be the last, I think it's going to be a miniseries. I'm not sure how many issues, but nonetheless, kind of the wrap up for the Transformer stuff here. Definitely in the far-flung future where there are no more Autobots and Transformers. There are still Cybertronians around the universe here, but perhaps, I don't know, maybe there's a lot more questions than answers in this first issue, but pretty easy to see here who our last spot standing is. You know him as Hot Rod or Rodimus Prime, but yeah, so an intriguing first issue here. So we'll see where it goes from there. Saturday Morning Comics says that they're wishing for a Saturday morning adventure-style Transformers series. That would be cool. I'd actually love that because, seeing as they at one point IDW has the shared universe of G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask, Action Man from Europe. So I think even Visionary is a little bit included in there as well. So kind of all these old, Hasbro and Kenner toys as well. So yeah, those very, very interesting as well there. So, all right. So a couple selections here from Marvel. First off here in the Black, White, and Blood series here is now Moon Knight. Of course, Carnage has had his series before, Deadpool and Elektra. So now we've got a series of kind of reprinted Moon Knight stories in a mini series here. And literally the art is, as you can see, black, white, and red. So, yeah, very cool. So, if you're still kind of new to Moon Knight and don't know necessarily where to start, this is actually a good point here because this is kind of a lot of reprinted stories all throughout different eras of Moon Knight. Different creative teams have been on him as well. So, yeah, and that kind of a nice starting point there. A couple of big releases for Marvel this week, and definitely some of my favorites of the week here. Captain America, Symbol of Truth, the first issue of this. This is now the first issue was going to be 2 Captain America series, which as a Captain America fan, I'm extremely grateful for. As you can see right there. But yeah, it's awesome. You get one series with Sam, one series with Steve, and you can't get any better than that. So let's see, a new creative team on this one here. Tochi Onyebuchi, hopefully you're saying your name right, and artist RB Silva, which I'm familiar with Silva's art, but the writer's new to me. So hopefully we'll see some there. Marianne says she loves some Captain America. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Marianne. If I was actually going to get a tattoo, I would definitely get a cap tattoo somewhere, but I don't know. I skipped the whole tattoo craze, and I guess I'm just going to stay that way. Last but not least here, the first issue of Banner of War. This is the Hulk versus Thor part 1 here. And folks, this does not disappoint. The great thing is that Donny Cates is the writer for both Thor and the Hulk currently. So it was very easy for him to cross over these two characters because, like I say, he's the creative team behind both of them. The nice thing is that if you are not reading either one of these, they kind of give you a little bit catch up of what's been kind of going on in both these characters and their recent storylines to kind of get you caught up with what's going on in this one. But yes, these guys have faced off before, but not like this. And it is I've said slobber knocker once, but oh my God. There's a couple of scenes in here that are just mind-blowing to some, cringe-worthy to others, but just absolutely fascinating. So, yeah, this and Captain America were definitely some of my picks of the week here. Could not recommend those anymore. Oh, man. So, yeah, that's what I've got for you this week here as our comic books go here. So, yeah, lots of good stuff here. So, we're going to talk about Doctor Strange, but first, a message from one of our friends here, Comic Books for Kids.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.
Yeah, and that's a great charity. I mean, I love giving comic books to kids anyway, and comic books, to kids in hospitals. I mean, you can't do anything wrong about that. All right, let's talk Doctor Strange now. So it's been out for about a week now. I've seen it twice, so I think for the most part everybody's kind of seen this here. So let's get some spoiler stuff out here because, I want to talk about this, want to dive a little bit deeper in here, have a few thoughts I want to share as well. First off, of course, as I said last week, thoroughly enjoyed the movie here. This was satisfying, definitely on, a Marvel level, on a Doctor Strange level, but also as a Sam Raimi fan, this was like hit all the Sam Raimi notes perfectly. I mean, they just gave Sam a whole lot of money and said, do your thing, baby, because we had all of his traditional kind of camera angles and zooms and his, cinematography style when he's doing horror movies. We got Bruce Campbell. We got the car from Evil Dead, for God's sakes. The first time I seen the movie, I'm looking for the car, didn't see the car. Second time I see the movie, I'm punching myself going, how did I miss this? It's literally in the center of the screen while Doctor Strange and, Christine are sitting there talking. There's the car just twirling in the air. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun, though. But, yeah, so just hitting on all those levels itself. But then, of course, just the multiversal stuff. I really enjoyed that first scene where Strange jumps with America, and you just kind of get this whole landscape of all these Marvel locations that we haven't got to yet. We were almost kind of in the white space when we saw the Living Tribunal, that basically the big face with the golden eyes, kind of like a hood or shroud over his face there. Yeah, that dude is the living embodiment of justice and order in the entirety of the universe and multiverse and everything. So we've only kind of just scratched at the surface a lot of these big higher ups within the Marvel universe that are basically like the ultimate powers, these godlike beings in there. Really, like the Celestials, we've talked about them in the Guardians and in the Eternals, but really, like, there are a lot more out there. And of course, the Living Tribunal is one of them. You've got guys like the In-Betweener, Eternity, Mephisto, Nightmare, all sorts of dudes. So just seeing that little glimpse of the Tribunal, that was pretty cool. I love seeing the Savage Land in there. I think maybe we got the microverse. I saw like the world with all like the bees and kind of a very grassy, jungly kind of world. That kind of it looks like an area of the microverse, maybe like Micronauts kind of thing there. So I don't know, but yeah, so that was kind of cool. And that futuristic city, that could have been, I don't know. There's any number of futuristic cities. A lot of the different weird art styles, the psychedelic stuff. That's, again, shout out to Ditko art. So yeah, again, that was a lot of fun there. Talking about our cameos here, Rico coming in clutch here. Never look at spaghetti the same way again. Wow, yeah. Very cool that we got a version of the Illuminati in the MCU, even though they're not in the 616 universe, they're in the 838. Yeah, 838. But yeah, hey, fans, we're going to cast John Krasinski as Reed Richards because that's what you've been wanting. And we're going to kill him 10 minutes later. Wow. I mean, that was, if anybody ever wondered exactly how dangerous Wanda really is, I mean, she just took out 6 very powerful people very easily. Very easily. So, and regardless of how that movie ended, she's not gone. No. She's just taking a break for a while. But she's coming back, she has some other chaos to distribute, so to speak. So I don't know. She's always had this very complicated history, and I think we were just kind of just scratching the surface at just seeing WandaVision and seeing here in Doctor Strange 2. Yeah, there's a lot more mayhem to come with Wanda. But that's the funny thing, too, is that she's also redeemed herself every time she does terrible things. So every time you want to hate her, she does something that makes you love her right back. So always been a very complicated character. You know, the comics, the movies, nonetheless. So, yeah. But there's 3 little words that she said in the comics that are very devastating to an entire group of people. And comics fans, you know what I mean there. So we don't have that group of people in the MCU yet, but with the arrival of Professor X in the 838s, there's mutants over there. So where are our mutants? That makes you think. Of course, also with the addition of America Chavez, we now have one more person in our Young Avengers team. So, I mean, we've pretty much got the entire team. We got to grow up, Billy and Tommy a little bit, but really all we have to do is introduce Teddy. And I have a feeling we're going to get him either in the Marvels or in the Secret Invasion, because both those shows are dealing with Skrulls, or movie and show, or dealing with Skrulls, and he's one of our most recent famous good guy Skrulls. So I don't know. I think he's just around the corner. I'm fingers crossed. I don't know this for sure, but my instincts are telling me that we've got all the other guys. Really, he's the only one left. I mean, granted, there's also the young Kang, but he's kind of. We might be able to introduce him. We might not. I don't know. It all kind of depends. So he's kind of the Iron Lad Kang character is almost kind of their version of Loki, because Loki is kind of chiefly responsible for the formation of the Avengers, because he decided, hey, I want to do some reckless stuff with the Hulk, and I don't know if anybody's going to respond to this. Who cares? And then a whole bunch of people respond to it, and he's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I create a super team. Yay, me. So there you go. So possibly, we'll get, but yeah, we have every other character. We've got Billy, we've got Tommy, we've got Kate Bishop, we've got America Chavez, we've got Cassie Lang. So now let's see, that's everybody. Yeah, of course, the twins. So, Elijah. Yep. We introduced him in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So yeah. So we've pretty much got the whole core team. Minus if you want, actually, Ms. Marvel joined later on, so maybe we have her too later on. But you want to come here and say something? No? Okay. No. We got to come over here. Got some of my kitties talking to me here. Let's see here. But I do like at least the fact that Anson Mount got to come back and play Black Bolt one more time. A proper demonstration of his abilities, which was, tragic and also interesting to see as well. Never thought we'd see in a Marvel Disney movie someone blowing the back of their own head out, but thank you, Sam Raimi. Okay. But yeah, and of course, I've got a big kick to the arrival of Professor X in the gold wheelchair, and the music cue was the 90s X-Men theme. Interestingly enough, if you watch the credits, it said X-Men 97. So there you go, a little spoiler, because we know there's an X-Men 97 cartoon coming to Disney Plus, and are they going to use the original theme song? Yes, they are. So there you go. But yeah, we also got to see a proper demonstration of his mental abilities as well, with kind of just seeing like the invisible waves, and then seeing him kind of within the mental space of like Wanda's head and how some of that looks. Yeah, that's kind of like, taken straight out of the books as well. So that was really cool to see. So again, lots of, different things, introduced as well, some different possibilities. So, I like that we're kind of getting a little bit more of a multiverse here. But now that basically we've discussed a multiverse, we have kind of a group of people who are trying to somewhat police things or prevent major events from happening. And we said the magic word incursions. This leads me 100% to believe that our main story that we're heading towards, our next Infinity War Endgame will be the Secret Wars. And this is definitely going to be the Jonathan Hickman version of Secret Wars, not the 80s with everybody in the flicker shields and they're all on the planet fighting each other. No, this is going to be like multiversal world-building creatures deciding that, we need to stop what we're doing and we're just going to start from scratch, and a group of heroes trying to stop that. And essentially what happens is a patchwork Earth is created that's mixed of all different areas of the multiverse, kind of a very chaotic Earth. And some heroes remember the way it used to be. Some are kind of fully involved in this new world, and that's where the combat comes in. But then you kind of get a little bit of kind of alternate takes on different heroes, alternate takes on major events that happen within the Marvel Universe. So, yeah, very interesting to see how that's going to work out, how they're going to do that storyline, too. Of course, there's a couple of characters who are principal to that Secret War storyline that have not been introduced to the MCU just yet. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work out. If we're going to build to that point, we'll see. On the other hand, though, if you told me 10 years ago that they were going to do an Infinity Gauntlet movie and not use Adam Warlock and the Silver Surfer, and it was still going to be amazing, I would have said you're crazy. And you know what? They were right. Because, we had an amazing Infinity Gauntlet storyline and did not use two very principal characters to the comic book story. So, I don't know. The possibilities are endless now. We've just got a really good team on here, so I've learned to trust the MCU at this point. Being a very deep Marvel fan, it hasn't steered me wrong just yet. I know there's a lot of controversy around Ms. Marvel and her changes, but I can also kind of understand why they changed as well. I mean, no one really cares about the Inhumans right now in the MCU because they didn't do a very good job of the show. Okay, well, maybe we're going to make a more, Kree-oriented powers because we care about that. So, okay. We're still going to see, we're not going to see like stretchy big hands and, long arms, but we'll see kind of constructs of that. So it's like, okay, we're kind of making her a little bit of a hybrid of Captain Marvel, little Green Lantern here. So, the series is coming in June here, so I'll give it a chance here. But yeah, definitely some changes there. So we'll see how that works out. Some people have taken the Moon Knight series in different, ways as well. I mean, I really enjoyed it, being a longtime fan of the series. But it definitely, some people had some expectations of what they thought it was going to be. And then what it turned out to be, maybe it was a little different there. But again, there's a difference between the kind of, what you may expect in it versus what it actually is, or just let it go and enjoy it. Yeah. So don't dive too far into it if you don't need to. Once you watch the show, then dive into the episodes there and just pick the heck out of them. So back to Doctor Strange though. Honestly though, with all the cameos, had a lot of fun with that. What I was most excited about though, 100% was definitely the appearance of Charlize Theron in our first cutscene as Clea. And of course, if you don't know who was this nice looking blonde woman taking us into the Dark Dimension, Clea is the Sorceress Supreme there in the Dark Dimension. Now, of course, that was from the first film where we fought Dormammu. That was basically Dormammu, I make a bargain with you. And we had to go in that time loop where he's fighting him. Yeah. They kind of punked out Dormammu a bit in the first movie. He is a lot bigger threat than they actually present him to be. So hopefully when we go to the third film and we see the Dark Dimension in full, we actually get to, maybe explore that a little bit more and explore the cultures within that dimension. Maybe we'll kind of get to see what more of a threat he actually is. But more about Clea, not only is she the Sorcerer Supreme there, she's also a warlord of the Dark Dimension, which basically their government structure essentially is warlords, essentially. So, there's a lot of combat, a lot of fighting there, a lot of turmoil. But also, chiefly, she is also the niece of Dormammu. So, constantly in combat with her own family as well. But yeah, so Clea has got a fantastic history, especially in the Doctor Strange universe. Actually, currently in the book, she is the Sorcerer Supreme because Stephen is currently dead. So she's taking the mantle right now. And how she did that, she is his wife. So we've kind of cleared the path romantically for Steven and Christine. He's kind of made his peace. So his new boo just walked in at the end of the movie there. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see about that. I honestly, I popped more seeing Clea than I ever did seeing, Fantastic and, Captain Carter and all of them. So there was a lot of fun seeing them, but I was expecting that in some way, shape, or form. I was not expecting Clea. So, yeah, that was cool. And having Charlize cast as her, I mean, you can't get any better than that. Really, just can't get any better than that. I tell you. So, yeah, really enjoyed the film. Like where we're going here. But, yeah, definitely we're heading to Secret Wars. How long it's going to take for us to get there remains to be seen. There's a lot of stuff that kind of happens, could lead us into multiversal, some big galaxy sort of stuff there. I think Thor: Love and Thunder, we've only just kind of just tap dance around what's really going on in that movie. That the teaser trailer, like, oh hey, he's gonna he's having some some thoughts about where his future is, what he's going to do with the rest of his life. Oh, he's gonna hang around with the Guardians, do stuff. Whoa, hey, Jane Foster's looking like Thor. That's awesome. We haven't even seen Gore the God Butcher yet, folks. There's going to be a body count in this movie here, like we haven't seen in a Thor movie. Granted, we saw a lot of people getting killed with Asgard, but we're going to see gods die in this one here. So I don't know. I would be concerned if there's any favorites out there in the deity world. But yeah. So anyway, but yeah. So again, I know we're headed to Secret Wars. There, like I said, some interesting turns with. Secret Invasion, with the Armor Wars show. I'm not exactly sure how those are going to tie into the whole thing there, but a lot of the timey-wimey stuff we're dealing with Loki and, introducing Kang, that's all going to tie in as well. So maybe Kang's going to be our big villain for Secret Wars. They're replacing, they said the big guy in Secret Wars is Doctor Doom. We have not introduced Doctor Doom just yet. So maybe it's going to be Kang. So also, another very important character to this story we haven't introduced yet is the Molecule Man. So possibly we could replace Wanda with him. I don't know. But yeah, either way. So I just 100%, when we said incursions, that's basically it. We are going to start getting to know alternate worlds and the people who inhabit those worlds. And then very quickly, we will see those worlds be destroyed before us with one place left standing, the old 616. And it's going to be up to us to stop this invasion of worlds colliding and gods trying to destroy us and whatever else. So it's going to be a big battle. It's going to be a little bit different. I mean, Kevin Feige said that the next phase, the next big movie is going to be very different from Infinity War. And he's right. If they're doing anything close to the Secret War storyline, it's going to be very different and a very cool tapestry of stuff. You think you've seen some cameos now, folks. I think whether or not we get our Fantastic Four and our X-Men introduced before the Secret Wars remains to be seen, but I would expect to see a lot more familiar faces come back for one more time in this one here. Yeah, so that's about all I got for you there. But yeah, like I said, we're heading to definitely some big stuff in the MCU, and I'm just excited to see where it's going to go from there. So, all right. Well, I appreciate all you guys for watching the show here this week. Of course, I definitely want to get the old branding out here. So let me get this stuff here. So yes, of course, if you're on Facebook here, like and subscribe on Facebook. Spread the word to your friends and family and whatnot that, like this kind of stuff here, that, you want to join the chat here, join the conversation, because I love talking to you guys here and, geeking out about this stuff here. So love doing that. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm on YouTube now. And if you're not watching on YouTube, get on YouTube and watch me there. I have a whole 2 videos on there right now. But yeah, so anyway, love you guys. Thank you all for supporting the show here. Hope to see you all next time on the Fanatic Forum. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.